Hello, everybody. This is Dulo. We're here with Let's Go Warriors. We're getting ready to watch the preseason kickoff. Very exciting times. I want to make sure my audio is correct. Okay. So we've got Rich on the call. Rebecca will be joining us. We're going to watch the NBA preseason with the Portland Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors. First game kickoff. Steve Kerr said no one would play more than 20 minutes. So looks like we'll get a very good look at the roster. And it should be very exciting to get just to see Steph Curry play. Okay. We're still waiting for tip-off of the Golden State Warriors and Portland Trailblazers. So I'm very excited. I think yeah, we're still awaiting tip-off. There's some other games that are wrapping up, and I'll speak on those first. So it's 10 o'clock tip-off. Obviously, it's past 10. Had a couple other games that wrapped up earlier. Very excited to see if let's see. Looks like Rich has already started the live stream, which is good news. Hey, Rebecca.
Hey.
Welcome to the so Rich has I think he just got up, but I'm glad to see that you're on. We're excited. We're waiting for this Portland Trailblazers first preseason game versus the Golden State Warriors. So oh, see. Nice cat.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're very excited. So yeah, we'd like to dive right into it. So I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah. So I mean, I think excited is the best word to say. I mean, basketball's finally back. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. We have a lot of new additions on the team that we're going to be seeing play. Of course, Steph's talked about Avery Bradley. We saw a little bit of Kuminga and Moody in the summer. Andre's back, which is phenomenal. I mean, I watched the Heat as well because, I'm from Miami. So, I didn't miss watching Andre because, he went to the Heat. But still, it feels more right when he's on the Warriors. And then Otto Porter, having him is going to be an interesting one. Who's a real younger guy who showed a lot of promise when healthy. It's just for him, it's been a matter of staying healthy. Then we have Nemanja Bjelica, who is another interesting one, adds a good big power forward to the system, can space the floor, hit threes. and then we have the two of the back. We have Jordan Bell, who we saw a little bit at the end of last season, who's also back. Who I love Jordan Bell when he was on the team a few years ago. And I'm happy to see him again. And then we have the two younger guards, or actually a few. Langston Galloway, actually, he's not a young guard, but he's got some experience in the league, has good ball handle. And then Chris Chioza, who being from Florida, we're Gators family in our house, and he went to University of Florida. So I'm very familiar with him. I'm glad he's on the team. He's a fantastic passer. Is really his number one game, but he also can hit clutch shots and stuff. He was very big for the Gators a few years ago. He had a big game winner in the NCAA tournament. So I like him. And then, we have the guys like Gary Payton II is back. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he out right now?
Yes, he's injured.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll miss this game. Of course, along with Clay and James Wiseman.
Yeah, and then also Mulder comes in too, who's been with us for a little bit. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting year. I'd say most excited I am to see Kuminga and Moody.
Right.
Just because we saw so much good raw talent with them, especially with Kuminga in summer league. I'm really excited to see, what training camp in this summer and work has done for them. And then see how they start to build chemistry with the other guys. And then one of the guys I'm the most high on in the NBA, and I will talk about him for ages, is Jordan Poole. Just the strides he made last year after the little, I guess the G League did that little like bubble.
Yeah.
And really since the bubble, he just has been fantastic. And I'm interested to see, we won't see it for a while, but where his role kind of takes a change when it comes to when Clay comes back and stuff, and see how that changes, but also to see what strides he makes. He's also good, great handle, able to shoot. So I'm excited that he's back on the team and to see where he continues to grow.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm most excited to just really see, pretty much the same, but Jordan Poole in the starting lineup. I think that's going to be fantastic, particularly for Chef Curry, because the we don't want another year of him just running laps around the court, getting hacked and doubled and tripled, and hopefully Poole can take some of that offensive load off of him. I'm very excited to actually see Jonathan Kuminga, because it sounds like the new coaching staff has an actual plan for him. It's not, it seems very different from the Wiseman situation last year, where Wiseman was just in the game, making decisions, shooting threes, putting the ball on the floor. He had a lot of leeway, but Steve Kerr in two separate press conferences said, we think Kuminga's a 4, dribble handoffs, just a very limited role. And I'm like, okay, well, he can excel. You're setting him up for success if you shorten the rope for a rookie and just give them limited responsibility. So I'm very excited, because now this coaching staff seems to understand that they can't just throw guys out there as if they're, the veterans that Golden State's used to having the last 5 years. This isn't David West, where you're just like, okay, go out there and do everything. But, so I'm very excited to see how Kuminga plays in a limited role. So.
Do you know how to, put us in gallery view?
Let me see. I think I did it. Did it change for you? So in the upper right-hand corner, there's a view with a 9 dot menu, and you just click on that and you can change. I
Oh no,
changed
I
the
was
gallery
saying
on
I
mine.
meant just I did for
Oh,
myself.
okay.
I'm saying because yours is the one that's going to the YouTube. It looks better when we're in gallery on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there it goes. It switched over on YouTube, so that's good.
Okay. Yeah, it feels like it's been forever since the Warriors last played. It feels like it was the longest off season ever.
Really?
Yeah, I
It was
felt like
actually one of the shorter off seasons.
yeah, I think it
Well,
just
I mean,
felt
I
like it
guess because they weren't in
because
the playoffs.
right, yeah. And I think it's just missing watching Clay Thompson play basketball. Um just
For
missing
sure.
yeah, that's what it is. I think it's just withdrawals from essentially 2 years of not seeing kind of beautiful basketball. Um so
What's
yeah,
wild
and
to
just
think about it is I thought about this the other day. Andre Iguodala is gonna have played another game for the Warriors before Clay has.
right. That's an amazing nugget of information. Like to think about that. Like, and what did he go to Memphis then and sat out and then Miami? um,
Yeah,
so yeah, Miami in the bubble and then a full year in Miami.
yeah,
That's it's a very damning statement, actually.
yeah.
So it'll
Also, a
be
very sad statement.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm actually in terms of the veteran players, I'm most excited about seeing Otto Porter. Here in DC, I got to see a lot of him. Obviously at Georgetown, and then drafted in the lottery by the Washington Wizards. And he's a good player. He can really play. He makes a lot of smart winning plays. It's just he's got to be in shape, and he's got to stay away
Who?
from the soft tissue injuries that just keep him out for weeks at a time.
Which guy?
Otto Porter.
Oh yeah. Has your game started?
Uh, let me check. Oh yes, yes. Here we go. Okay. Yes, my game just started a minute ago. Warriors up 6-4 on the Trailblazers. Jordan Poole just made a long jumper.
I am. I think gonna be a little behind because unfortunately I'm streaming it. So and my stream's a little slow.
Yes, I'm also streaming it, and these things cut out and speed up and slow down. So it's never very consistent when you're streaming it. Um, unfortunately. But the announced starting lineup is true. They did you know, Jordan Bell, or I'm sorry, Jordan Poole was making an immediate impact in the game. Looney starting at center for the people listening. Um, Jordan Poole started out making okay, so now he's made 2 3-pointers to essentially open the game. So he looks good right out of the gate. I expect to see very limited minutes for Curry and Draymond Green and um, probably Wiggins.
Yeah, I'd imagine we'll see a lot more of the younger guys today. I have a feeling we'll see a good amount of Kuminga and Moody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And they're
say Steph does not play past the first quarter.
oh yeah, for sure. I think well, yeah, I think he'll play, a few minutes in first, maybe a little. I don't I think I don't think he'll come out after halftime. I think he'll play a little bit in the first and the second, and then that'll be it. Um, I'm excited to see Bielitsa also, just because this team has no size at all.
Yeah,
This is
especially with
like,
Wiseman out.
yeah. I mean, I look at their size and I'm like, this is like a Division 3 roster with a bunch of 6'6" centers. They're just so small. Like they're gonna get killed on the boards. Um, Even when Wiseman gets back, I still think they're gonna need more size. So I hope Bielitsa can still play. We just don't know because Miami just didn't let him off the bench last
Yeah, he
year.
didn't play that much in Miami. But when he did, he still played well.
Right.
Um,
And that's a little bit, it's a little scary for me because Miami runs a not not exactly the same, but they run a system very some with a lot of similarities to the Warriors. So I'm wondering, did he lose? He was never a great defender, but did he slow down enough to where that Miami coaching staff was just like, we're not going to put him out there? I'm just wondering why wouldn't they play him? Um, and because they desperately needed a stretch big to go next to Bam. So I
I
was
think
wondering
part
about
of
that
it was
last
they
year.
ended up finding Dwayne Dedman, who played very well for them.
Yeah, he was solid.
I
Yeah.
think was part of it, and then I think they just ultimately went with I think more of a fast paced, which I don't feel like Bielitsa is the most fast paced kind of guy.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a slower, stretch 4, stretch 5 type
Yeah,
of
and
guy.
Miami has been trying to play with a lot of pace. Like you can even see like in there they had their first preseason game tonight. Um with they had everybody play but Jimmy, who they kept out with rest. But they look pretty good. And we're really focusing on pace. With all the young guys that they have.
Yeah, and I think the Warriors are also going to push the pace, just being such a small team. And also,
Especially with younger guys, like we all know JP likes to push the pace.
right, right, yeah, and also they're going to have a lot of inefficiencies, I think, in the half court because there's just no low post scoring on the team at all. So I think they're going to want to hit teams before they can get set on defense. And that might spell Bielitsa not seeing a lot of minutes this year. So it might be matchup specific for him. And that's why my pick of Otto Porter as like a guy that I wanted to see it becomes very important because he actually is very effective in a half court offense because of his deep range. He's a tremendous shooter. I saw in the article with I think Monty Poole wrote an article about his 3-point shooting, and it's true. Yeah, he is a tremendous catch and shoot um, type of player. So like in the half court, he's lethal. Top of the key, both corners. Um, if Poole or Curry penetrates, if he's open, he's going to hit that shot. So, and that's a different dynamic. I mean, they've had great. Obviously, Kevin Durant is probably the best offensive player that we've seen in quite a while. I mean, a lot up there with Steph Curry too, but one of the probably top 5 offensive players we might have ever seen in the league.
Who?
But well, Durant, but Otto
Yeah.
Porter is clearly not Durant, but as a 3-point shooter, just as a 3-point shooter, he presents a new type of threat that we haven't seen out of the kind of 3/4 position that Otto Porter can play. and hit the threes at a high clip. So I'm very excited to see if Otto Porter's healthy.
Wiggs with a nice back down over Dame. Now the Blazers are an interesting one because it always feels like the Blazers are just running back the same team.
Yeah. So yeah. So Portland. Yeah, you're right. They're it's very interesting because McCollum, Lillard, uh,
Nurkic.
yeah, Nurkic is there. Still have Covington. Um, they are so. I mean, they're maxed out. I mean, they've got some of the same issues the Warriors have, but in terms of salary issues, but they did make some nice moves around the margins. I really like the picking up of Larry Nance Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I like the pickup also of former Warriors legend Marquise Chris as an athletic big who can come in and sit in the dunker, block some shots, roll hard. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deploy him. But I also see Portland as a team that's going to rack up some regular season wins and flame out very quickly in the playoffs, as they have typically done, I guess, for 6 or 7 years in a row.
There was the one year where the Warriors faced them in the conference finals a few years ago that they actually did something. But then the Warriors, I think, swept them. So
Yeah. I'm excited to see the first wave of players off of the bench for the Warriors to see who's, because we don't really get the access to see who's doing well in practice. So I think Steve Kerr is going to give us a cheat sheet as to who's been performing well with the first backups that are in the game.
yeah. I also wonder how much Andre we're going to get.
Yeah, I would keep him in bubble wrap the whole preseason pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like you know what you're getting with Iguodala. I mean, this guy's, he's seen everything. There's no need to risk him in a preseason game. This is the time where you need to see if JTA has taken a jump. You need to see if Otto Porter's healthy. If Moses Moody, if is his shooting, if it's going to be efficient in against NBA players, because he flashed a little bit in summer league. But yeah, these grizzled veterans, I don't need to see them in the preseason game.
No, and
just a hamstring injury waiting to happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so it looks like Avery Bradley
yeah.
and Bielika are the first two subs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. That's interesting because your comment about Iguodala,
well,
I think in a real game, yeah. Go ahead.
Steph just with a great pass there. Got blocked though. Bradley shot. Steph, I think, has a lot of respect for Bradley. And I think where Bradley's going to come in especially helpful is, well, one, I mean, he can shoot and everything, but he's a fantastic defender, and Steph knows that because he's faced him. And, with Clay and injury, we all know Clay can shoot. We know he will always be able to shoot, even on one leg. It's where has his lateral quickness, where does that stand by the time he comes back? Yeah. So in that sense, where his defense will be at. And I feel like that's a really effective place where you have, looks like Andre and Porter are coming in for Wiggins and Draymond. But Bradley and also Gary Payton are both fantastic defenders. So, until Clay is able to get there, we still have a very solid defensive team, with guys still, obviously having Andre back, who's a great defender, but Bradley is just a terrific defender.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting to see Otto Porter and Iguodala as the first wings, first forwards off the bench, because
Yeah.
we saw Toscano Anderson play a lot of important minutes, particularly after the Oubre injury last year. And it looks like, man, there's going to be, if this lineup is any indication of what Kerr's seeing in practice, JTA is not getting any minutes because Otto Porter is clearly was looks like the seventh guy apparently in the game. So that's tough.
Part of me thinks that just might be a kind of, it's the first game, let's see how things are. Like I don't know if I'd at this point say anything about rotation.
Yeah, I know, but coaches tend to bird dog their choices with in the early preseason as to like what they're seeing, and that's why I'm jumping and making wild guesses. But I do wonder about Otto Porter just hit a three. Oh, I think you're maybe a minute behind me. But Otto Porter,
my stream is all sorts of messed up.
Yeah, on the stream that I'm watching, I've got 21-14, 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first. Steph,
that's where
Iguodala.
I am. It just is very glitchy.
Okay, yeah. Well, NBA TV as a whole, which is what I'm watching, it's a pretty terrible product for such a big billion-dollar industry. It constantly goes down. It's glitchy. You would expect better from a major corporation, that puts out this product.
Yeah, I find League Pass typically goes okay, but it usually is a lot better not streamed. Like when I'm watching League Pass on like our like home TV, like through cable, it's fantastic. But I find the streaming's a little rough.
I agree. Portland's bringing in, looks like they're bringing in Robert Covington and a couple other their reserves. Steph Curry's been making some really good passes.
How do I sound? Congratulations,
Barely. You mostly
Okay.
I just muted Rich. I think he unmuted himself,
No, I think he was talking. I think he was asking if we heard him.
So I've got now 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first. Golden State up 21-16 over the Portland Trailblazers. Leading scorer in the game is, or leading scorer for the Warriors, Jordan Poole with 6. And Nurkic with 7 for the Trailblazers, and Lillard with 4. And so far, the first, let's see, 9 guys in the game are, of course, the starters: Draymond, Wiggins, Looney, Curry, and Poole. And The next backups were Bradley and Bielika with Iguodala and Porter. So those were the top 9 guys off of the roster.
Are you on a
Shane?
commercial?
Let me double check again. Yes.
Okay. Portland shouldn't have let Seth Curry leave.
Yeah. Well, Portland has also, they've just had a lot of failures. They failed to develop. They've had a couple of young players who seemed like they were on an upward trajectory, and they kind of failed to deliver to develop them. Anthony Simons, the shooting guard they drafted out of high school in 2018. He's not what they thought he was going to be. I mean, it's interesting because they thought he was essentially what Jordan Poole is for the Warriors. They were really excited about him, and he's only 22, but in his 4th year in the
I
league.
mean, he's still on the team, so we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Meanwhile, Steph is out. Who knows how much or if any we'll see him anymore. But so far right now they're running Avery Bradley, JP, Otto Porter, Andre, and Bielitsa. And as we were talking about Anthony, he went and hit a nice shot there. So
yeah, I hope they don't play Iguodala too many minutes. I really don't like him in in preseason games. I'm like, this guy is a closer. I just don't want
yeah.
I don't want to waste the few minutes that he has left in his body on preseason games. Particularly banging with some of the bigs that they have in Portland.
Nice steal by Bradley.
Yeah.
He's been struggling so far shooting from 3, but he's made some very well-timed defensive decisions so far.
Right. Yeah. So Avery Bradley's stats so far, his stat line looks like this: 5 minutes played, 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. But he does have 2 steals, which is his calling card.
Yeah. And shooting sometimes is one of the later things that kind of gets in. Kind of got beat a little there by McCollum with a nice crossover. He also just keeps shooting, which I respect. I mean, sometimes you just got to get your rhythm going. It's the first game back. He also hasn't played in a while. He played for the Heat a tiny bit last season before getting injured. And then I believe in their trade for Oladipo, they traded him to Houston. So he has not played in a very long time.
Right.
It's almost the end of the first quarter. A lot of missed shots. A little bit of sloppy play so far. But, that's preseason. That's everybody getting their legs under them. I'm going to guess that we don't see Andre after this first quarter. I don't know if that's a guess or a want.
A little bit of both. I think because Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely excited to see some Jonathan Kuminga minutes.
I am too. I'm really excited to see Kaminga.
Yeah. So what are your guesses, Rebecca? What are your guesses for the 15th roster spot? Will it be filled? And if so, if it is, who do you think is the leading candidate?
Um, nice, JP. Who do we? Is everyone that's on like? Because I know our roster's extra kind of big right now because of preseason, so I always forget who's actually officially on the roster right now and not.
So let's see. Let me go through the roster. So some of the candidates: Langston Galloway, Mike Mulder, Gary Payton II, Avery Bradley. Well, we've got Chio's on a 2A, so he's not.
Avery Bradley's not finalized yet.
I mean, I thought he was.
I thought he was too.
Yeah, but it's non-guaranteed, same as Mulder, so he can be cut at any time. I mean,
I'd hope we keep Bradley. He's one that I hope we keep around. And I'd like to have ideally so I'd probably say Avery Bradley would be who I'm hoping for. I do really like Gary Payton. I think he's also a fantastic defender. Where can you watch the game live? Let's see. The game live is on NBA TV, at least for me. Alex. Yeah.
so it looks like in quarter 2, Damian Lee, Andre Iguodala, Poole, Damian Lee, Otto, and Bielitsa are in there. So
Okay. Yeah. Then I would probably say Bradley is who I'm hoping for.
yeah, I agree. I think Gary
Based on the
Payton.
minutes he's gotten so far, I'm gonna say it probably does go to him, but can't say for certain.
Yeah, I think so. I think they have enough unproven players on the team.
Yeah, and you know, I think about you know, like Mulder and stuff. And you know, Mulder's great and all. And we don't really need a more shooters, if that makes sense. Like,
Well,
you know, in the sense
we don't need Mike Mulder. That's
yeah.
that's the thing is he doesn't
Like he can
bring
shoot
anything to the roster that's he's an
like
okay shooter, but I mean
yeah,
it's
he's an okay shooter, and really like we have, you know, Jordan Poole, we have Damian Lee, we have Chioza.
exactly.
You know, really to me, we need more of a defensive guy with Clay out. And to me, that's where I say like Avery Bradley over Mulder.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Leads way deep.
yeah, he's got range. I think Mulder can easily be had on a 2-way. Nobody's going to pick him up on a roster. I mean, let's be realistic. I think, and also the same. Well, we're not going to be able to get Gary Payton on a 2-way because I think he's been in the league like 5 years or so. I I think he gets vastly overrated by a lot of Warriors fans just because of his dad and
Who?
and Gary Payton the second. Um, I don't see it, and I don't think you can play him as a point guard in the NBA just
Yeah, I
because.
mean, and I think for me, really, where he has his shine that I see is defensively. I think he's a good defender. Um, as a true point guard, I don't necessarily see because I
Right.
don't think he's really like that kind of passing one, but I feel like he's a very defensive specialist guy. Um,
Yeah, and the Warriors have been looking for a defensive point guard for some time, but when it comes to ball handling and passing, he's just going to hurt you in the game. So
yeah, I think that's where Jordan Poole is nice. His handle's getting pretty good. We saw parts of Kaminga in the summer where his handle looked really nice. And then where Chioza is very good.
right, yeah, Chioza has pretty nice handle and is a pretty good passer. I
Yeah,
remember
that was
watching
always
him
his
on some of those Florida
specialty at
teams.
Florida.
Yeah,
His passing. He was a true point guard.
right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I was happy when I heard that we signed him. A lot of people were like, "Wait, who?" And I'm like, he isn't gonna be a amazing player, but he's good. He's solid. He can provide some solid backup minutes. Is a good addition off the bench. And kind of provide something different than some of the other guards that we have at the moment.
Right.
Like when you look at like Jordan Poole, in my mind, Jordan Poole he's a okay passer, but he's not like that kind of player with like passing in mind. He's a shooter.
Yeah, I mean he's looking to score for himself first and foremost, but he does have a nice bag. I mean he can pass, he can break down the defense, but he's looking to score primarily. And the Warriors actually need that. Um, we do have a comment on the live stream from Eric, and he's asking what happened to Jordan Bell. And Bell is, I guess, not with the team apparently tonight for personal reasons, according to Rich. Let's see. I'm just reading some of the comments. There's a Patricia Glick is asking who's the visitor that keeps showing up.
That's
Rebecca?
my cat.
Ah, okay. So what's your cat's name?
My cat's name is Spencer.
Spencer. Okay. So we've solved that mystery. Okay. Let's see the next question. Oh, you already answered this one about where you can see the game live.
Yeah.
We've got Rebel the Sound saying that Bielika is our new Zaza that can shoot threes. Well, we'll see. I need to see Bielika take out somebody else's best player like Zaza could through his brute violence. So we'll see about that. But
yeah, I don't think that's quite Bielitsa's type.
Yeah, Bielitsa is more of a finesse, typical Euro player. He's not that brooding punisher that Zaza was. So, but with this 15th roster spot, if Marc Gasol wants to come back, that might be the guy who comes and brings the physicality that Steve Kerr used to like a few years ago with those big, brutal centers who would come in and set the hardest screens for Steph. And
yeah, he loved that with David West.
Oh yeah, West, Pachulia, the Australian kid. I forgot his name. It's slipping my mind. The Australian
Andrew Bogut.
Bogut, yeah, Bogut, exactly. So yeah, those very physical guys who crash the boards, get extra rebounds, and just kind of set a tone of like, I don't want to say intimidation, but it's kind of what it is.
Yeah, I'd love some of that to be where Wiseman again eventually gets.
I hope so. I feel heartbroken for Wiseman, just because this is the worst possible scenario for him to just, um, what was it? He committed to Memphis, got suspended after 3 games, goes pro, then catches COVID, then hurts his wrist, then comes back and busts his knee up,
Yep.
and he has no offseason again. So I don't know what to expect in terms of his development, and I hope he can overcome all this and not bust.
I really hope he does.
Yeah,
Like that he doesn't bust.
because he's got tremendous talent, but like so many crazy things out of his control. Things, the injuries also just when a guy's like anybody over 6'10" that starts getting like lower body injuries. Oh my gosh, I'm always so scared for them. I mean, we all saw as NBA fans, we all saw like Greg Oden and these other great, guys just disintegrate right before our eyes. And so I'm very scared for Wiseman, and I hope they slow play him coming back because big men with foot and ankle and knee injuries, I'm just very concerned about those type of things. So hopefully,
Now we have looks like Wiggs back in with little JTA, Looney, JP, and Lee.
yeah. I still don't have any clue as to what kind of offense Chauncey Billups is going to run primarily for Portland this year. I hope
I'm
it's
a big
not. I
fan
mean,
of Lillard, but I also just I don't understand. Like, if he really wants to win a championship, he can't stay there.
no. I mean, but I think I think that the secret about most of these NBA guys is that they're okay with where they are. And, like I'm here in DC, we've got Bradley Beal. I don't think he cares at all about winning a championship. I think he wants to be the man. So
Yeah, I was
got
about to say they
that.
want to be
Yeah,
that guy.
that's the thing is because they're going to get these max contracts anywhere they go. But being the man, being able to take an unlimited amount of shots, making sure that you're going to be an all-star by just filling it up, I think that is a championship in the minds of some of these guys. They're just like, why would I go to be a third or fourth wheel on a championship when I could be a superstar on a bum ass team and I can essentially rack up, the stats, whatever stats I need. So I mean, these are like what I call Westbrook championships, where you just stack your stat line, and you get your big contract, and you're good to go. And there's only a few guys who will like do anything to win a championship. Um, you know, take smaller contracts or jump to a whole nother team. You're seeing a few crazy like decisions by LeBron where he's jumping teams, or Steph Curry where they won the first championship. He was on a really small contract so they could get Iguodala and other players. A lot of guys aren't going to do that. They just want to be the guy. They want to be the man. That's what
Well,
I
he
feel.
wasn't on the small contract because of that.
Well, it was because of the injuries, really, his ankle injuries, and the Lakers wouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah, because before he wasn't officially no one knew what he could completely be because of the injuries. And then, then he got his big contract once, like, he became who he is. And he's actually coming back in.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm just seeing that Steph and Draymond are in with Damian Lee, Wiggins, and I can't see.
Cool.
Oh
Jordan
yeah,
Poole.
yeah. No, that looks like JTA. Yeah, that's Toscano Anderson.
Yeah, no Dre. It's no.
No, it's Draymond.
Yeah, Dre.
I'm at the 502 mark
And
in
Steph's
my
not in
game.
yet. Steph at the scores table.
Oh, okay. I'm at the 502 mark. So I have Steph, Dre,
Oh,
JTA, and Wiggins in. And JTA is bringing the ball up, which is interesting. Setting the offense. Even with Dre and Steph on the court. Oh, and he's immediately stripped. Interesting. Yeah, this is definitely NBA preseason. They're just experimenting and having fun. So let's see. Let's read more comments from the live stream.
it's mostly just William.
Okay, yeah, I see. I think Steph Curry just hit a three. Couldn't tell. They got Wiggins on Damian Lillard, and Lillard immediately hits a three on him. So that's going to be a big. Yeah, I don't know who's going to guard point guards this year.
Well, I think that's where.
Because Oubre did a good job of that last year. He did a really, I mean, he had his struggles, but he did a really good job of guarding point guards last year.
Well, that's where they have and why they want guys like Avery Bradley and stuff, because they're good defenders.
Norm Powell has looked really good for Portland.
Yeah.
They have they have a playoff caliber team.
Portland?
Yeah, I mean, they make the playoffs pretty much every year, but they have just a roster of good players. I mean, like obviously Lillard is a star, and they don't have any star power after that, really. McCollum's pretty solid. But they also don't have a lot of like dead weight on their squad. They have a nice solid team. I can easily see them, being a 6 seed. I'm wondering where Marquise Chris is on there. Oh my God, Wiggins just dunked on somebody so hard. Okay, you gotta watch. Okay,
I saw it.
okay. Maybe I'm behind you now in my stream, but I just saw Wiggins just put a facial on somebody. Oh my God. They got to replay that. I was checking on the live stream, averted my eyes for a second, and Wiggins just completely plastered some guy. The newly vaccinated Wiggins, by the way.
I am so happy that he decided to do that.
I mean, it's interesting because I know he's I guess he was trying to get a religious exemption or something, and the city shut him down on that. But and the media made a big deal about it. I think he said last year that he would get it if he was forced to. So, once they told him, basically we're going to take half of your money because you're going to miss all the home games. He said, "All right, well, I'm not going to void my own contract." So,
Yep, especially not while you're getting vastly overpaid.
well, yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's paid like a top 40 player, but he's more of a top 80 player. So,
Yeah.
Minnesota Timberwolves doing Timberwolves things, giving him all that money. So, so William has a question that says, "Hey Rebecca, do you think the Warriors? Do you think they're a playoff contender this year?"
The Warriors?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Steph Curry, you can never count this team out. We saw that last year. Had he been healthy a few more games or a few games, the ball that went a different way, they would have been a playoff team, and they very narrowly were. So, I mean, 100%, I do think they're a playoff team. Add in, Clay coming back, everyone's like, oh, you can't overreact to Clay coming back. No, you can't overreact to Clay coming back because you don't know how much he's going to play and all of that. However, I do know with Clay that whether his defense or any of that is where it is usually may not be the case. But Clay can shoot, and Clay will always be able to shoot. So I think having a healthy Steph, a healthy Clay, growth among these young guys, Draymond more locked in and focused, Wiggins better fitting in and having a better chemistry with the rest of them, hopefully a healthy Wiseman soon. I do think this is a playoff team, and I think they might even make a splash in the playoffs. Because, I mean, I personally think Steph could be MVP again.
I agree. I think this is definitely a playoff team. This is absolutely a playoff team. So, I don't think they're going to be a top 4 seed, but anywhere 5, 6, 7, 8 for sure, because they were essentially an 8th seed record wise last year with just Steph. I mean, and now we're going to get some iteration of Klay Thompson. And even if he's only 75% of what he was in 2019, that's a massive game changer. And then we're also getting that bench solidified with Iguodala and Otto Porter. So a lot of those dead minutes where, unfortunately, last year Oubre would come in the game and the Mulder and the lead would just evaporate. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen this year.
Yeah, and don't forget, we also didn't have a healthy team to end the season. Like, Oubre missed those last few games.
Right.
And, defensively, he was a very important piece for the team. So, I mean, he could have been a big difference in those games against the play-in games in LA and against Memphis. You also had Memphis, who happened to just have like their best game of the season.
Yeah, and that was That was the Xavier Tillman game where he was just lighting up the Warriors, the rookie for the Grizzlies from Michigan State.
Yeah.
That was
And Jaw couldn't miss from three. Like,
yeah. That was a Freaky Friday kind of game where everything was the opposite of what it should be. So
yeah. And in some ways, maybe it worked out best in the sense, our guys didn't have to go into a postseason and risk injuries and stuff when without Clay, we really weren't gonna get without Clay, we weren't gonna have really a shot at winning the title,
right.
Plus
Avery
then
Bradley
so
just had a really nice
getting
steal.
a good draft pick because of it.
Oh yeah, that's the worst thing is so we ended up getting the 14th selection to get Moody, but I feel like if they won that play-in game, they might have won an actual series and then had a pick in the 17, 18, 19, and they would have missed out on Moody, who they considered at 7. So sometimes, I feel like they kind of lucked into a situation where they got two really highly ranked players in Kaminga and Moody. Interestingly enough, none of those guys have cracked the rotation right now. I mean, they're just buried on the bench. Yeah, they're just sitting there, and so it's interesting to see. Mulder hasn't checked in yet. Moody, Galloway.
Yes, in the second half,
Chioza.
we're not going to get any more Steph, Draymond, or Wiggins, or Andre. So I'm going to guess those guys start to come out.
Yeah. I think Looney also is a guy that is much more valuable to the Warriors than to anybody else. So I don't think they're going to play him because they know he's had a very fragile career.
Who, Looney?
Yeah, Kevon
Yeah.
Looney. It's just don't even risk him. Don't let him cool off at halftime and then try to warm him back up to come out. I mean, he's played 9 minutes. That's plenty enough for him.
Especially since we don't have James Wiseman to start the season.
Right. So I expect to see a lot of Kuminga playing small ball center in the second half. I've got 60-60 at halftime now.
Yep.
Jordan Poole leading both squads. He's got 15 points. Or I'm sorry, leading the Warriors with 15. Lillard has 19.
Lillard turned it on a little bit at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, he got some favorable matchups against Steph and Wiggins and just hit deep threes in their faces. Typical Lillard stuff.
Defense hasn't really been happening this game.
No. Neither one of these teams looks like it's exerting much effort on defense. But, these guys are working into shape. Avery Bradley, however, does have 3 steals by himself. And Jordan Poole, interestingly enough, has a steal and 2 blocks to go along with his 15 points and 4 assists. So he's not the best player on the court, but he's having arguably the best game out of all the players on the Warriors. So and Wiggins, as we talked about, vaccinated Wiggins.
Wiggins is having a pretty good game. I believe it's hit a 3 or 2, had that really good dunk. My God, I don't know what this halftime is, but it's dogs running around. At least the halftime that I'm seeing.
And one thing that we haven't commented on, but Draymond looks like he's in great shape. I know he played in the
Great shape.
Olympics.
His shooting so far has looked good.
Yeah, he does look. And last year was tough because I think he also got COVID and had some other issues. But he looks like he's in tremendous shape. So that's a net plus, absolutely, because it means he's not going to spend the first 20 games working his way into shape. So that's fantastic news for the Warriors. And I think the wins are going to be, yeah, I think the Western Conference is so loaded that it is going to be there's no like gimme games because you think of the teams that like didn't. I mean, okay, OKC is pretty much trash, but outside of that, because they're trying to lose, even though they
Yep.
actually have a really young core of nice players. I like Pokashevsky. I like
Mal-
Josh Giddey. Giddey was the guy I thought they were going to take, but they got outwitted at the end, and Giddey actually got picked right ahead of the Warriors pick. Because basically what I had heard was that Giddey was the choice, and then and it didn't happen, and we ended up picking Jonathan Kuminga. But they're still not trying to win; they're still tanking. I
Yeah.
think So I mean, they even what they did with Al Horford was the most shameful thing ever. He still had like 3 years on his contract, and they were like, "Just stay home." Because if you come, you're gonna win games for us, and we're not trying to win. It wasn't like a last year I'm in a buyout because he still had like 2 or 3 years on his contract. It was unbelievably shameful. It was like just stay home because you're gonna make us be in close games and we might win some, and that'll mess up our chances.
Yep.
So outside of that, every other team is a dogfight. Man, even teams that didn't make the playoffs, like New Orleans, Brandon Ingram, Zion, they're tough. They are tough. I mean, I don't
Although
know.
without Lonzo, I'm not really sure where that team's gonna go.
Well, I mean, yes, I agree to a certain extent. I mean, and then I still think they're going to be really tough though, just because didn't they trade also for the big center who was on Memphis last year, Vooch?
Oh yeah, Valanciunas.
Valanciunas. I keep always mix him and Vucevic up. Yeah, Valanciunas. So that's an upgrade over Steven Adams. So they're going to be a big, imposing, physical team. Even Sacramento's made some strides. They got Halliburton. Fox is back. Mitchell, the little kid from Baylor. They got a squad. I mean, that's not an easy win with those guards because Halliburton showed he can catch fire, and Fox, and they can light you up for 30 or 40 and be in any game. Yeah, the West is just going to be a complete bloodbath. So the Warriors can't drop games like they dropped in the beginning of last year, where like they're just losing those close games. It just can't do it. So I'm excited that we have some veterans on the bench that are going to keep things pretty kosher while Steph is on the bench for his predictable, his predictable rotation schedule. And I think Kerr might need to look into changing that up because you can't let your opponents know your entire philosophy and schedule of like when you're going to be playing. Curry and Draymond always going to play together. They're always going to play the first and third quarter, and then they're going to play part of the second and the fourth. It's like, I don't know, change it up, add some mystery to it. I think you got to use every advantage you have. And being that predictable, I think it works against. I mean, it definitely, when they play the Lakers, it works against them. It works absolutely against them because the Lakers coach is literally on the sideline saying, "Okay, he's going out. LeBron, you guys go." They're staggering minutes, so LeBron is playing against guys like Mulder last year, and that's going to erase any lead that she possibly could have had. So I hope the new coaching staff makes some changes around, and Kerr did talk about fresh ideas and things like that with the new staff. So hope we do see some of that this year. So I've still got halftime on my stream. The Warriors took an unbelievable amount of 3-point shots in that first half.
Yep.
They took so just from the field in general, they took 54 shots. 36 of them were from three. So apparently they're playing 2K also. Like
I think it's
video
because
game.
I think it's because the Portland wasn't guarding,
Yeah.
so they just had all these open looks and they weren't passing them up.
Yeah.
They just weren't hitting them.
Yeah, and actually the poorest shooting from three is coming from Avery Bradley and Steph Curry. They're combined 1 for 10 from three. Other than that, everybody else seems to be hitting. Draymond is 1 for 2. Wiggins 2 for 5. Poole is 4 for 9. Bielika 2 out of 3. Otto Porter 1 for 3. Iguodala missed the one he attempted. JTA also was 0 for 1. And then Damian Lee is 1 for 2. So, things would look a lot different if Steph and Avery Bradley weren't chucking up, some bad shots. I really hope Steph can have an MVP season though, because that would be just tremendous for his own personal brand and just the respect. I think because he could have easily won last year if the team wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some more comments in the chat. Let's go. Will says this game is a 3-point contest. Yes, that is true. It is. Let's see. So Will ask if JP is in the starting 5 this year. It means that Wiggs will be the scorer on the second unit. Maybe. I still think it's going to be Poole. I think they'll stagger the minutes because I think they don't want the repeat of Steph Curry facing a triangle and 2 or box and 1.
Yeah.
So but I think so I think Poole will play like 4 minutes and then he'll be out of there, and like somebody like Damian Lee or whatever will be in there. But I do think around the All-Star break, you should start to see. Typically, you start seeing the rookies mature. So I wouldn't be shocked if a guy like Mulder, I'm sorry, Mulder, if Moody is actually getting legitimate rotation minutes post All-Star game. So that second unit scoring, my best guess is that's going to be Poole, probably Porter and Bielika. as the main guys who are scoring on a second unit team. That's pretty, yeah. I think those are the guys who you would probably want averaging between 6 and 11 or 12 points a game. Because again, we're talking about backup second string guys. Let's see another comment. Says is Portland is not playing. They're saying our ball movement looks good, but Portland is not playing good D. Well, yeah. When has Portland played good D? It's been a long time, right? It's been a long, long time. Like I literally think the last time they played good defense was, I think the last time they played good defense, they had like Rasheed Wallace and Bonzi Wells. That was like 14 years ago or something. So yeah, it's been a long time since Portland was D and up. So
yeah.
Let's see. Next comment. So William, I guess he's guessing the starting lineup at the end of the year, and he's saying it'll be Curry, Clay, Wiggins, Green, and Wiseman. I don't know. I don't know if Wiseman, talent-wise, yes, but man, Kerr loves Looney. So I just don't.
I feel like he might go with Wiseman as the starter.
I think he was forced to go with and play Wiseman minutes last year, and that was probably a Lacob thing more so. It seems like it, but I don't know.
I think he might put him in as the starter because I mean, part of what we talked about is the psychological stuff that he's going to have to deal with between all of these injuries and stuff. And I feel like putting a guy like that into the starting spot will boost his confidence. You know, Looney's going to come out there and play his best, and he's always going to, whether you start him or not. A guy like Wiseman, it might be beneficial to his young confidence to start him.
Oh, so Rebecca, I completely agree with you. I actually think if I was Kerr, I would start Wiseman just for the simple fact that I don't want extended minutes of Draymond and Looney on the court, because that means you can easily double or triple Steph because those are non-threats offensively. And you can't have that many liabilities on offensively. So I would, but I don't know if Kerr values the same things. I think he values, a guy who can like set back screens and stuff like that. So Wiseman hasn't proven that he can do that. Wiseman is a scoring big. And I don't know if Kerr values scoring big men. Has he coached any scoring big men in his time?
Who?
No, I'm Kerr. Has Kerr coached any scoring big men? Like, I can't think of any in the last. I mean, Mo Buckets was getting like 5 points a game, like, So I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I wonder how much influence Kerr has, and how, does he really want? Is this a marriage of convenience? I do wonder about that because he likes Looney, and I know Looney's undersized, but Looney knows the offense down pat. So I don't know if Wiseman will legitimately start over him, especially coming off injury, and he'll probably have a minutes restriction the whole year. So Rich says that you should start Wise because Looney is basically an off the bench guy. I agree. I think Looney is literally, he's valuable to the Warriors, but not. I mean, I think you saw this 2 years ago when he was a free agent. he's valuable to the Warriors, not really to anybody else. So sometimes your own players are just more valuable to you because of the system you run, and their high IQ and their familiarity with the system. And I think that's the case with Looney. Like Looney is a high end backup center in the NBA, which his contract shows. He's about a 5-year $1 million guy, type of guy. But starting, that's tough. So I agree with Rich on this. Like I would love it to be Wiseman for real, because of the talent and the ability to take the scoring load off of Steph Curry. But we'll see what Steve Kerr values very soon when Wiseman gets back. So a great question just came in the chat, and it's why does Steve Kerr not play the rookies? And then also comment following that is get Steph out of the game. Yes, I too would like Steph to not be in this game anymore. I mean, it's worst thing you can do is get a guy injured in a meaningless game. And we already know Steph is probably one of the top 2, maybe 3 players in the entire NBA. I don't need to see him diving on the floor for loose balls, right? Or going to the rack and getting hammered. No, thank you. So in terms of the rookies, yeah, it is pretty disappointing that they have not checked in yet. I mean, Moody and Kuminga are sitting on the bench. Don't know have anything more to add on that. They're just sitting on the bench.
Yeah, my guess is we get at the 6 minute probably of the third quarter. That's about it. Steph just hit a 3 on my stream. I have a feeling they wanted to let him hit 1 or 2 to get his rhythm, and now he just had a steal and a score. My guess is that will be almost the rest of Steph we see.
Well, I agree with you. So Steve Kerr did say yesterday that he was going to cap the minutes at 20 or so, and Curry's at 18, Poole is at 19. So yeah, I would expect them to make their exit pretty soon, and then it will be the rookies' time to get in there and jack up some shots and work up a good sweat. Even though Avery Bradley's only 2 for 8, I actually have liked what I've seen from him because he hasn't turned the ball over, and he has put pressure on the ball most of the night, and he does have 3 steals. So that's essentially a much better version of what Gary Payton theoretically was going to bring. So very happy with that because he looks healthy for the first time since the bubble or the Lakers Mickey Mouse championship when he was on that team. So good for him.
Ooh, nice score by JP. Right to the cup easily.
Yeah, I also seen enough of Jordan Poole too. I also want to put him in bubble wrap and not get him hurt. Because Poole plays like a really herky-jerky kind of game. So I'm always worried that he's going to get hurt because he flings himself into the paint like with reckless abandon. And I'm always Jordan Poole. Like if he I feel like every time he approaches the rim, he's on the floor. Like he's always getting knocked down. So I'm always nervous about him because I'm like, we need that scoring this year. We really, really need it. I mean, when the Warriors turned it on and became, I think they went 15-5 in the last 20 games. And that was due to Jordan Poole essentially dropping 17, 18 a game in that stretch. And that was the magic ingredient that the team needed to, be competitive and be a playoff caliber team. So definitely don't want to lose that. But Poole is up to 23 points in 20 minutes with along with 5 assists and 0 turnovers. So, I mean, he's being guarded by a combination of Anthony Simmons and CJ McCollum, who those guys can't guard at all. So, but Poole is just a beast. He's just an unbelievable player. So it's good to see
I
him.
love Jordan Poole.
Yes,
Now Steph sits. My guess that's gonna be it.
Yeah, Poole is actually up to 21 minutes. So Steve Kerr's whole talk about 20-minute caps are not really in play because Poole's over 21 minutes now.
Was he talking about that for everybody or just the main guys?
I'll have to go and read
Because
my
he might have
Twitter
not
feed.
like he might have meant for like the veterans, and at this point,
Yeah, because Steph's right at 20. So maybe that was it. And Draymond's at 14. Looney is a plus 18 we're talking plus minus, right? In a preseason game, but Looney is plus 18 in his 15 minutes.
that's Loon.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't he helps you with a lot of subtle things, but scoring is not one. But defensively, it just makes the game easier. Waiting to see who is going to come in the game.
See, it looks like Bielitsa's about to come in. He'll probably come in for Looney.
I'm wondering if the final two-way spot, if they're going to find a big, somebody over 6'10" to just come in because this team is so small. I know we've said it a few times, but if anything, we know that Looney if he's had a fragile career. He's gotten injured, so many times. I just don't know with Wiseman on the mend what they're going to do, unless it's like we're just.
Yeah, Looney had a lot of injury issues, but I feel like I feel like really most of his injury problems was when he was younger.
I mean, well, in 2020, didn't he have that the knee injury that they said was I forgot the medical terminology, but it was I forgot. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I know he had some sort of lower body injury that was only going to get worse. So, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, and just I don't want him playing high minutes. I wonder if is there are there any good bigs out there? I mean, either the younger ones that are eligible for two-way or, bigs who could be had on that mid-level exception if Lacob's willing to spend on that. I know they still have that MLE. So Rich wrote about Boogie Cousins and well, Andre Drummond if he gets cut, because I think, and then a Gasol buyout. Well, I think Gasol was already waived, right? Didn't he go back to Spain?
Not sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure it's not a lot out there in terms of NBA bigs, but I hope I hope they can do something. Because do you expect, so Rebecca, let me ask, do you expect Wiseman to be back before I don't know, mid-November?
Whoop. Sorry, JP, just almost from the logo. I don't know. I'd say they're not gonna rush him back, so probably not. Sheesh. JP.
Yeah, Jordan Poole's already got 30 points in 22 minutes. Yeah, Jordan Poole's just a killer. Jeez. You know what? It's interesting. All of the Jordan Poole changes the entire argument dynamic. Like if you follow Warriors Twitter, there's always a talk about Bob Myers and how the organization can't develop players, and basically that all the talent was from Jerry West. Rebecca, I'm sure you've heard these arguments, right? Where at least Warriors Twitter is extremely toxic. So, but we've got all the podcast guys who have constantly taken this route. But it's interesting because Jordan Poole is diametrically opposes that whole train of thought. So it's interesting to, when I listen to the light years and the different podcasts where they're just slamming Myers, and he does makes he like any GM, he leaves stuff on the table. He makes poor decisions in hindsight, because we all get hindsight. They're operating in real time. But I forgot the kid who they drafted from Cincinnati. I think his name was Jacob Evans, Jake Evans, or whatever. I forgot his name.
Jacob Evans.
Jacob Evans, yeah, and yeah, he was terrible. I mean, he was absolutely terrible, and so Myers deserved to get slammed for that pick, for sure, because he immediately showed that he couldn't play. Like there was no like flashes, whereas Jordan Poole, he did well. I mean, that rookie year, it was like Jordan Poole flashed, Kai Bowman flashed. Some of those guys, obviously, they're not going to make it, but Poole clearly is a starting NBA caliber player.
Yep.
So it's interesting because it goes against just the massive criticism that Bob Myers has gotten. So it'll be interesting to see if some of these, if he hits on one of these young guys too that they drafted this year, if Moody or Kuminga become legitimate NBA players, I think that might cement Bob Myers as like a upper echelon GM. So it's going to be interesting. A lot rides on Wiseman. But I think it's more health than talent for him.
Yeah. And I mean, I think everyone realistically knew he was a raw talent. He just has tremendous upside if he can just continue to develop correctly.
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting thing, and a nice case study to kind of watch his career unfold and see if he was getting a lot of. I know he compares himself to Chris Bosh. I don't know about that, but I mean, if that's who he sees himself as,
I see it.
I mean,
in the sense that
yeah.
Bosh was definitely a scoring center. Like he was able to space the floor, especially in the later years of his career. He was a fantastic 3-point shooter.
For sure. I mean, I think My hesitancy with that is just that Bosch had a tremendous feel for the game. Like he just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I always thought Bosch was just such a high IQ player. He was always sliding to the right spot at the right time, offensive rebounds, tip ins. He was just such a natural player. I don't know if I've seen that with Wiseman.
I don't think we can completely say at this point.
Right.
But I think if that is who he wants to be, I think that's a great goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that let's see, I like Wes Goldberg and those guys, they were comparing him to like Hassan Whitesides, which I don't see that. I think he's much better. But he's a Miami Heat guy
Whiteside
anyway.
can't
So
shoot.
I yeah. Yeah, and I think Wiseman has a lot of offensive potential. Um but I just I wonder about the feel for the game because so much of the game is just like feel. Just like, does this guy look like a natural player? Does he have like soft hands? Can he catch the actual ball? Those are the things where I'm a little worried about Wiseman. Um, so I'm hoping this game slows down for him, but I'm also hoping his hand-eye coordination somehow improves. Because that's something that, I don't know. I don't know if you can get better at that. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out.
Um,
Oh,
Meanwhile,
Mike Mulder's in the game.
yeah, Mike Mulder's in, and it looks like Kaminga's coming in.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I see some movement. So what has Moody been doing? Because he is just buried on the bench. he's, he's just completely buried on the bench. Yep, Kaminga's in. Oh wow, Ben McLemore is on Portland. I had no idea. That guy's been all over the league.
It's been everywhere.
Jeez, I mean, he was a former Warrior legend for a little bit. McLemore, didn't he? Oh, they've got Dennis Smith also. Jeez, that's the guy who's been. He
Talk about a
started out
buff.
so well. I always wonder about guys like Dennis Smith who have a little bit of success as a rookie and then they just fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me appreciate Jordan Poole because you hear about his work ethic. And I think that's the separator between a guy who comes in and flashes and he looks like he's going to be a 10-year pro and then he's just almost out of the league a year later and barely hanging on for his pro career.
Yeah, and I think that's where Jordan Poole is fortunate in the players he has around him. You know, he's got like a lot of strong players that he can look at. To, you know, where he can grow. I mean, you have Steph as one of your mentors. Guys like Steph and Clay, who are some of the ultimate workers. Draymond, like all of those guys who, you know, had question marks next to their names coming into the league and worked hard, and now they're future Hall of Famers. You know, and I think that's where certain guys like, you know, Dennis Smith Jr. weren't fortunate. You know, the Warriors have a set culture. They have an identity. They have a team, you know, a coach, like a steady coach, a steady GM. Meanwhile, where did Dennis Smith Jr. start? New York?
Yeah.
With the Knicks.
Yeah, that disaster of I think his rookie year the year when they arrested Charles Oakley in the crowd when when the owner got into a fight with a former player and got him like thrown out of the garden. It was just this whole circus. It was
Yeah.
disgusting. Yeah,
You
that
know,
that was
it's
that was the worst.
Mavericks who,
Yeah.
yeah, they have good ownership and stuff, but you know, he didn't have a ton of like mentors and stuff around him player wise. I mean, because outside of Luca, you know, since Dirk, that franchise doesn't really have anybody. So it's just like that's I feel like sometimes where for a rookie, it's all about where you're drafted to. You
Yeah.
know, it's all about here's the players that I'm going to get to play with, the culture I'm going to play in, you know, and the work ethic and the who's going to be around me and how that's going to shape who I am as a player.
Yeah. That's why I was excited for Iguodala to come back because he's one of the culture guys and he's on the bench because and that's what's more important for the young guys who I don't know how you can be a full-time starter like Steph can't be teaching guys because he's got to go out and play 36 minutes a game. Like he
Yeah.
can't be, like you need a bench guy. You need David West or David Lee, or you need like these guys who are going to be on the bench who can coach up young guys and get them up to speed. So I like that Iguodala. And Iguodala, by the way, karate chopped, unfortunately, Cody Zeller and like might have broken his nose. He dunked on him, and then he came down and his elbow was like the people's champ WWF and hit Cody Zeller right in the face.
I was
Zeller,
wondering what this whole
yeah,
wait.
Zeller was probably bleeding because he was waving for a towel to come over when they called a timeout and they got the towel going.
Chiosa's also checked in.
Man, Chioza is so tiny. Jeez.
He's very small.
Yeah, this guy looks like when the high school scrimmage when the JV team like gets to play. He just looks I mean, he looks so small compared to these NBA. I mean, he's an NBA player too, but
Yeah.
just compared to these
Otto
guys.
Porter has looked uh Otto Porter has showed some good flashes tonight.
So I'm wondering about Robert Covington. Is he just going to play the rest of his career with that Phantom of the Opera mask on? Is he actually hurt or he just likes it?
Who
Because
knows?
he's he's, he's always wearing the mask, and I'm just like, okay. I remember when he got hurt a couple of years ago. I think his tooth or got knocked out or something, but he's just wearing the mask now, like um Rip Hamilton style. If you remember him from the Pistons, he used to wear the Phantom of the Opera mask.
Pistons
Like,
had a lot of characters.
yeah.
Sheed Wallace.
Oh yeah. Oh, so Marquise Chris has checked in the game also.
You know, I love what the Pistons are building. I mean, they had 3 fantastic rookies last year and have another great one coming in Cade. I mean, last year they had Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, and Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart is a beast. I think Killian Hayes is going to be a bust.
I don't know if I have a say yet, but I like what they looked like, at least so far. And then I really like Sadiq Bey.
Oh, he is fantastic. That was a guy who I really liked in the draft last year. And it was just weird because like it's like you like a player, but you're like, can you see them? What position does he? I know we say positionless basketball, but I was like, what position can he guard? Because your position in the NBA is based on what you can actually guard. And I didn't know. I said, well, he's not like a big. but he's not like a wing either. He's like this weird in between. But he turned out to be a really good player, and yeah, I was. That's really why he dropped. Like it's like the guy was a legit 6'7", 6'8". He could shoot. We just didn't know if he could defend
Who?
NBA power for Sadiq Bey from Villanova.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, it was clear like you would watch him and Pascal and all those Villanova guys, and you're like, okay, this guy is legit. He can play, but who can he guard? Who can he? I mean, if you think about Eric Pascal, it's almost the same thing. You're like, man, this guy's strong. He was explosive, but then you're like, who can he guard? And then if the answer is nobody, then you can't play him. You can't play. I mean, Steve Kerr. Remember when they were down to like 8 bodies and nine bodies at the end of the year, and Steve Kerr still wasn't playing Eric Pascal. And I was like, oh, you know what? I see what Steve Kerr, I understand what he's probably thinking right now. And that every time I put this guy on the court, he's going to be a liability. So I just can't play him. I'd rather play my guys 40 minutes each than put him in. So I knew this offseason, I said, okay, he's definitely getting traded. And it came to fruition. Bob Myers pulled the trigger for what, like a conditional second round pick?
Yeah.
That's just nothing. It's like cup of coffee and a donut or something, like just to open up a roster spot. So I hope Pascal does turn it around because I like him as a player. I just don't know if he'll ever be able to
Where is
defend.
he? Dallas?
Utah with his best friend.
Utah. Right, right, with
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell.
yeah. So I'm hoping that change. And I think Pascal needs to drop a lot of weight. Like, and
I would agree. I think that's kind of where
yeah,
he faltered.
yeah, because that's the thing is like he has success as offensively as a tiny small ball five, but he couldn't defend fives. He's just for some reason he's strong, but he's not laterally quick. And I don't know. I hope Utah is good for him because he actually can play. I think it's just a
Good
conditioning thing.
effort play there by Kuminga. Interesting lineup right now. I think we're starting to see a little bit. It's Juan in at the 5 with Mulder, Chioza, Kuminga, and Moody.
Yeah.
Um,
Chioza. Okay. JTA is such a glue guy. I love having a guy like JTA on the team because he can play a few positions. It just brings just a tremendous energy. I really hope he doesn't get buried on the bench and like left out because I think every night you need that spark of energy and that toughness to just get injected, even if he's only going to play 10 minutes a game. Let him go out there and remember last year, Rebecca, when he didn't he dive over a table and bust his head open?
Oh, Juan? Yeah.
Yeah, JTA, yeah. Yeah, that was so intense and crazy. Like he had like crazy person eyes. He like dived over a table.
Hit his head.
Yeah, yeah. And I think he had stitches and then he came back like the next day or something or 2 days later. So
Yep.
Ooh, Kuminga shot. Yikes. His
Yeah.
his 3-point shot looks like Charles Barkley's golf swing. It's just like robotic and pretty bad.
That was a nice play by Chioza and a good kick ahead by Moody. Someone's at the scores table.
Who is number 7 on Golden State? I have no idea. Oh, that's Langston Galloway. Okay.
Oh, is that who's at the bench? At
I
the
just saw
scores?
I just saw number 7 on Golden State shoot a corner three. I mean, he bricked it, of course. And I just
Oh,
didn't
then I
recognize
must be a
who.
little behind.
I'm at 8:04 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm a little behind.
Okay. Yeah, Langston Galloway, who I don't think is very long for this team. But Marquise Chris is in the game. He's got like a it looks like he's built up his body. Marquise Chris looks pretty big. Interesting thing is I'm seeing Moody put the ball on the floor, which was a big time weakness for him in Arkansas last year. So if he can add that to his game, because he's already a really smooth shooter, but if he can put the ball on the floor a little bit and then basically attack closeouts, that's an instant rotation player if he can do that, because that means he's just not I mean, that's one of the complaints that I think, Rebecca, we probably share with Mulder. Like, if he's not hitting his threes, he's completely worthless. Like, because he doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So if Moody can attack closeouts, holy smokes, that's another NBA player that's in a rotation, and that helps you because it takes minutes off of, Wiggins and Curry and Clay and Dre and all these guys who, there's a big difference between playing a guy 38 minutes a night versus 35 minutes a night. The cumulative effect. So if we can get some minutes from Moody, who I think is probably safe to say the much more advanced of the rookies, just because Arkansas had Coach Musselman, who was an NBA coach, who actually was a former Warriors coach. They play an NBA system that has a lot of similar pieces to what the Warriors run now, with a motion offense, and particularly this kind of motion offense.
That was a clean block. Come on.
Oh, so Rich commented that if Avery Bradley wasn't available, the 15th spot might go towards Galloway. Yeah, I mean, I remember Galloway playing for the Phoenix Suns or something. Was he on the Suns last year? I think he's
I don't even
okay.
remember.
He's okay. I mean, he gets after it defensively, but quite honestly, I wouldn't waste a roster spot. I would rather take a two-way guy from the G League if you're just looking for a defensive oriented point guard. Quite honestly, I wouldn't roster him. I'd keep that flexibility um for the late market buyouts, because some team that you don't expect is going to implode, and their vets who are on last year contracts are gonna want out. I mean, we've already heard about Kevin Love. We've already heard about, a couple guys who are already plotting their escapes from various teams around the league. It could be, think about Andre Drummond and that situation in Philadelphia. Is he going to be happy backing up Joel Embiid, who he hates and has had like a war with for years? Especially if
I would
Philadelphia.
love to see Kevin Love either with the Warriors or the Heat.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Kevin Love playing center for the Warriors would be super interesting. I would like to see that.
Stretch 5.
Yeah, because we're hoping that Bielitsa can do some of these things. We're hoping, right? But we know Kevin Love can do some of the things in terms of screening, setting screens, passing, hitting an open three.
I really hope he requests a buyout.
Yeah. My fear is that he is gonna ask for a buyout, but I think he's gonna
And
want
go
to
to
go back
either
home to
Brooklyn or LA.
I think it's Portland though. I think he's gonna go home to, to Portland and play in front of his family. And I mean he did go to college in LA, so maybe, but maybe he'll want to
Yeah, I
go
mean, I
back
guess
there.
he's already won a championship, so it's not like he has really that as a factor.
That's why I think Portland, because playing, I mean, he's from Portland. I think he's going to want to go back and be there, unfortunately. Um, and the Warriors aren't the pull that they used to be. So
No, and they could still. I mean, you have Steph on your team, you still got pull.
well, that's true. That's true. I mean, they were able to get Otto Porter, which was a big deal, but they lost out on who was the point guard from the Spurs last year who signed with the Nets. He was killing America in the Olympics. He's the Australian guy. I forgot his name. Oh, Patty Mills. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Rich. So it's Patty Mills. I thought the Warriors culture would be enough to get Patty Mills. Nope, he went to sign to be Kyrie's backup. And Harden, I mean, it's like, okay, Kyrie and Harden are going to play all the point guard minutes. Like, at least we just have Steph, who's like the only legitimate point guard on the roster, who can actually assume those duties. But he chose to be in Brooklyn, so it tells me that I think it's about the culture, the times changing, because during the dynasty, it was a dynasty, so there was really no one else. So if you're a ring chaser, there was only one place to be. Now, if you're a ring chaser, you can go to Milwaukee, you can go to Brooklyn, you can go to either of the LA teams, Clippers and Lakers.
Phoenix.
Well, Arizona people. Nobody wants to go there. Or Miami. So that's 5 teams, and even 6. Okay, say Phoenix. That's 6 teams that you would go to before the Warriors, right? Chase a ring. Because nobody knows if Clay is going to be a good player anymore. I mean, he was like a borderline great player for sure.
Not even borderline.
I mean, like he was a
top 15 guy in the league.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
who seemed to only be getting better.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, yeah, that's the tragedy of anything that comes in contact with Danny Green, it just gets destroyed. So
I hate Danny Green.
Yeah, so I always viewed Clay as like a top 20, top 15 type of player, and I don't know. I mean, Achilles injuries are. I mean, I'm not so worried about the ACL. Like, yeah, modern, surgery and medicine, but an Achilles is just an Achilles, man. I don't know. That's tough. And I know John Wall came back and he was good, but John Wall was out for 2 years. That was two. I mean, I'm in Washington, D.C. You could see him walking around and he looked fine, but they didn't play him for 2 years before they traded him. Like he sat out and then he sat out again. So, and I know KD, he had like a year and a half because of the COVID bubble and all that stuff. So Clay's not going to have that. He's not going to have 2 years since the Achilles. I mean, he'll have 2 years out because of the knee injury before, but I don't know. I'm very nervous about Clay. But I understand NBA free agents not like wanting to come just because they're like, you're a championship type team with him, but if he's not 100% of what he used to be, then you're essentially an eighth seed team, and they're already in those situations. So guys who come here will just get less shots, right?
Otto Porter has looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Otto Porter. Loved him since Georgetown. I don't like Georgetown University, but I like him. He was good on the Warriors. If he can stay healthy, that is a legitimate starting caliber player. And quite honestly, if he's healthy, let's ask ourselves: is Wiggins better than him? I'm talking when both are healthy. Is Wiggins better as a starting small forward in the NBA?
Yes.
Ooh, that's tough. I just don't know.
He's a better defender.
He is. He is a better defender.
He's a better defender, and he shot about 40% from three last year, while also putting up a consistent 18.
That, yeah. Also, he was terrible in those Memphis playing games too. The back-to-back Memphis games. So I don't know. I like Wiggins, and I think he got a massive statistical bump from playing with Steph. I don't know if his value around the league has improved. I mean, it's improved in the Warriors fans' eyes, but I don't know if the value around the league has really improved for Wiggins. I mean, I do think he's a good player. I do think he's a top 80 player, for sure. I like him, but a healthy Otto Porter, I don't know, because it's the shooting is the thing. Like, we have 6 years of statistical evidence that Wiggins is not a great shooter, but he was a good shooter last year.
Yeah, but he worked on it. I mean, you can improve.
Yeah, but is it an artificial like Steph bump? Like, okay, you play next to this guy who's getting tripled, so your shots are like wide open. Or is it like he just actually improved? And where was that improvement for 6 years in a row in Minnesota? So that's what I wonder about. I know. Well, so yeah, you're right. Minnesota is the equalizer, right? Because that culture is just so bad. I mean, so yeah, I guess I don't know, but I would say I don't know. There's some arguments I think offensively where I would take a healthy Otto Porter because of his basketball IQ and his ability to shoot the three over Wiggins. And I know Wiggins is a better defender, but Otto Porter is a better rebounder. Like Wiggins is yeah, I don't know. It's pretty close because they're both guys who are in between, I would say, like the top 70, the top 100 players in the league. If they're both healthy, and Wiggins has a much better track record of health. But maybe I'm just a sucker for shooting. I love guys who are not a liability with the ball in their hand. So, but we'll see. Let's see. We've got some more comments in the chat. So Rich was commenting on the Achilles injury and saying that Clay's trainer came on the live a few months ago and said that the medical technology is improved. I hope so. I mean, we'll see. Oh, and Rich says that Wiggins is top 60 rather than top 80. That's a strong take. I could see that. I mean, I don't know. He's just a high variance player. Like Wiggins can drop 40. Also, he can drop 6 in a whole game with no rebounds.
Yeah, but he's a pretty
So
yeah, but he's a pretty consistent scorer.
yes. I think my main frustration with Wiggins is his shot selection. I mean, those long 2-pointers with the foot on the line, the yeah, I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about Wiggins. I really liked how he actually tried on defense this year. This was the first time in 7 years of watching him in the league that he has actually tried on defense. So maybe there is untapped upside there. Um, and that's not bad. If Clay can be 75-80% of what he was, and you're looking essentially at Wiggins as the fourth option on a team after obviously Steph, Clay, Poole. Offensively, yeah, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. But if you're looking at Wiggins as your number one or number two option, you're in a world of trouble because he's not a consistent scorer to. I mean, I think we saw that in Minnesota when it was like he was the third guy and he couldn't succeed. He had Cat, Carl Anthony Towns, and Jimmy Butler, and they were like, "We need you to be the third guy," and he was like, "No way, can't do it." But maybe
Yeah,
as
but
the
that's also
fourth,
because Carl Anthony Towns can't defend, and their coaching isn't good.
well, yeah, you're right. I mean, every time you say Minnesota, it's a touche. You're right. Minnesota's totally out of control as a poverty franchise. But Wiggins was also statistically like the worst defender in the league for like 3 out of the 6 years that he was there. So it was like it wasn't just Cat who couldn't defend. It was Wiggins also. But Wiggins has changed, and I think Cat will be a better defender this year. But it's the
One
low
thing I've
IQ.
noticed that
Go
has
ahead.
definitely been a positive is our ball movement. I'm very impressed with our ball movement.
I agree. Yeah, there's definitely it doesn't break down to one-on-ones. I mean, I think last year watching was it sometimes Jordan Poole and Eric Pascal get in the game. They were just going one-on-one like it was a summer league like rec game or something. And I was like, where's the secondary and third passing? Um, but yeah, so now with Iguodala in the game and Chioza, guys who are looking to pass first, I do expect there to be more ball movement and hopefully better shots manufactured for guys who typically can't score on their own. So I think that's a really positive sign. So Mulder is 3 for 6. Of course, I knew Mulder was going to show out in this game.
Mulder always shows up in garbage time.
Yeah, I know.
I
That's
said this last year in every stream we did. Once
yeah.
it turned garbage time and we were down by a certain amount, Mulder would start hitting everything.
Mulder is like
He can't hit a shot when the Warriors have the lead or are in distance of the lead.
oh yeah,
But
yeah.
once
for
they're
sure.
out of distance, he can hit everything.
If you're up 30, up 20, or down 20, Mulder is an all-star. If you're up 20 or down 20, Mulder is a straight up all-star. So in this game, he's of course 3 for 6. Not really contributing anywhere else. Let's see. Does he have any assist? Oh no, he does have one assist. Good for him. A block? No, I'm sorry. He has a steal and a turnover. So yeah, basically just filling it up. I think he's going to be available in the two-way if they take him. Interesting thing about the assist though in the game, leader in assist on the game surprisingly is Bielika. He leads the team with 6 assists.
He's a good passer.
He is, yeah. 6 assists is a lot though. That's just, wow. Okay. I mean he is a good passer. JTA's got 5, along with Curry and Poole. They've all got 5 assists each.
Nice
look-
post move by Kaminga. Good patience by him. Defense has been, for a preseason game, not bad.
Well, yeah. Um, I I agree. I mean, I actually think their defense has so many defensive. I mean, their backups are really defensive minded guys. I mean, when you think about like Avery Bradley, Juan Toscano Anderson, Andre Iguodala, these are defensive minded guys. So, and veterans at that. So, yeah, I expect the Warriors bench to be so much better, just so much better than last year. Because remember, we were playing, we were playing Alan Smiley in legitimate NBA minutes. We were like, okay, we don't have enough bigs, so put him out there. So, I mean, think about those minutes are absorbed by a guy like um Andre Iguodala. That's fantastic. I mean, like it might only be 8 minutes of a game, but Iguodala, JTA. I'm hoping the rookies can defend. I think Moody's going to be a pretty good defender. Just
The
because
Warriors would bring back Marquise Chris.
oh, Chris. Oh yeah, Chris just got a steal, or almost a steal. I would like to see Chris come back. Quite honestly, I think he's better than what we have. I'll say that.
Well, we don't really have anyone at that position.
That's why I said better than what we have because, um, yeah, we don't really have anybody. I mean, oh, Marquise Chris, geez. Let me look at Portland's roster real quick and see if they're going to cut him or not. Well, let's see. His competition is essentially Zeller, Cody Zeller.
Bad hair Zeller.
Yeah. So
70-year-old man Zeller.
Patrick Patterson, Cody Zeller, Larry Nance Jr. Oh no, he's gonna make the team. He's gonna make Portland. He's gonna, yeah. But if yeah, he would be good. I really wish the Warriors hadn't given up on him.
Well, they didn't give up on him. He was injured and they needed the roster spot.
Oh yeah, but I mean, once they unloaded him to the Spurs and the Spurs waived him, they could have signed him this offseason to a training camp deal, which is what Portland did. I don't think they'll ever bring back a guy like oh god, who was the Kentucky guy who used to be on the Sacramento Kings? Oh, DeMarcus Cousins. I don't think they'll ever bring him back just because he's who he is. I don't know if that's going to work. It's tough
It's
with,
not a bad game. Doesn't really count for anything. It's a preseason win. Definitely saw some bright points. Love what I saw from Jordan Poole. Some good things definitely from Draymond. Looks in shape. He looks good. Otto Porter looks healthy and looks like he can make an impact. Looney looks like Looney. Wiggins looks pretty strong. And then Avery Bradley, he doesn't look amazing shooting, but I feel like can make an impact, definitely defensively. I liked what I saw from Chiozza. Yeah, no, I think a pretty good showing. A lot of positives.
I agree. I really liked what I saw from Otto Porter. 18 minutes, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 for 7 from 3. He hit 80% of his free throws, plus with two steals. That's fantastic. I was happy with what I saw from Chiozza in his limited time, but he got in there and he didn't really have a big statistical impact, but he pushed the pace. And that is going to be really important for the backup guards to just come in with a lot of energy and try to get the ball moving around. So this is a fantastic. I mean, the best takeaway from the whole game is it doesn't look like anyone got injured. So this is a win in more ways than one for the Wizards. I mean, for the Warriors, in my opinion. And yeah. Any closing thoughts, Rebecca?
No, I'm satisfied with how the game went.
Okay. Let me scan any last comments on the chat and then we can close the live stream. Let's see. So Nettie had a comment basically saying that our bench is better than last year and that we can be a top playoff team and not fight for the play-in games. I agree. I think tonight what we saw is some strong bench performances, particularly Otto Porter. And also there were some good moments from a few of the other guys, Bielika with his assist and his shooting. Imagine that injecting 2 legitimate NBA guys into your roster. I mean, it changes everything. So I agree. The bench can be a lot better. And Steve Kerr now has great options because when's the last time we've had a stretch 4 or 5? It's probably, as Rebecca said, Mo Spates, Mo Buckets 5 years ago. What was that, 2018? When Mo Buckets was here? It was 18, 19, 20, 21. Literally 4 years ago, right?
Rich said you need to make him host.
Okay. How do I let me.
Oh, he did it. I think someone did it.
I don't know how to make him host. So Rich, are you back as the host?
Yeah, he is. I saw that it was.
Okay.
We good to sign off, Rich?
Okay. I'm signing off now. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.